Welcome everybody in another segment of what happens to old Formula D cars. We have an ancient Formula D car here. I'm gonna ask a bunch of questions, but I assume from the livery that it's an old Von Ginn Jr. car, probably circa like 2010 maybe, I'm not sure. It's gone through some new owners. I heard it went to China. I heard it got wrecked. I heard that there's a bunch of things. I don't know if it actually did drive in Formula D. I'm pretty sure it did. He's going to answer all these questions and more. Why don't you say your name?
I'm Jalen Vick, new driver of Von's old car.
All right, when did this car get built? What was the exact year? You've got to know all this stuff.
So
you
it
own
was
a Formula D car.
2005 that
Okay.
it got built, and it was actually originally built for Ken Gucci.
What?
And he ran it for a year, and then he built his new car, and his new car got wrecked at Irwindale, and so then they ran this car at Irwindale and won at Irwindale, and then after that it went to Von, who ran it for a while and then took it to China, and now it's kind of
So how many Formula D events did it do, and what was its very last Formula D event?
Its last one was 2010 when Von won the championship in it.
Oh, so this is a championship winning car.
Says it on the dash, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, and he
What
validated
happens
that.
to championship winning Formula D? Better clickbait title. Sorry, keep going.
They just, I don't know, they bashed on it for a while, and then he took it to China and did World Drift Series there for a few years, and it went through a new owner at World Drift Series, and they bashed on it there, and then it got wrecked into the wall, and yeah.
This is really cool because it's kind of like a time capsule. This car is built completely differently than the more modern RTR cars. It has like a factory dash. The cage and tube work is much more
out of date,
old school,
kinda,
out of date, whatever you want to say. The engine is much different than he would have been driving at the, now. They run like NASCAR engines that are really crazy and modified and all this stuff. This is just like a supercharged illuminator, I would suppose.
Yeah, it's a 4.6 illuminator with a Whipple on it.
Oh, it's not even a 5.4 illuminator or anything. Nope. How much power does it make?
Right now it's on the low side, so probably like 550.
Oh, that's nothing like his Formula D setup, is it?
No.
Probably made more than?
Yeah, he said they tuned it down for China, and he said that it was like 550, but when he ran it, it was like 750.
Okay. Thank you so much to BC Racing Coilovers, the most supportive coilover company in the entire industry, who swept Formula D and all kinds of stuff recently, supports the grassroots scene so much. Drifting would not be the same in the United States without them, and neither would Lone Star Drift or Drift Week, so thank you so much, BC Racing Coilovers. Thank you to ECU Master for supporting another Drift Week. The other Drift Weeks would not have happened without ECU Master's support, so thank you so much, ECU Master USA. Thank you to Y-Plate Imports out of Portland. If you need an imported car from Japan before they get too crazy expensive, it is your time to buy one right now. Also, thank you to Torco Fuels and Oils for coming on board. It is awesome to have a great company like that, both helping out with money to help throw the event, but also with product. So we'll be using their products on the trip. We're gonna incorporate them in the drag racing to see if we can get the turbo cars to go a little bit faster by adding some more boost and some more octane. So thank you so much to those guys. And thank you so much to Drift HQ. Drift HQ is bringing out the Drift van support vehicle, which really helped out on Drift Week 2. They carry so much stuff. They're out of Florida. They're bringing it all the way to the Pacific Northwest. They support so many drifters from around the world. Drift HQ is a huge company now with tons of products. Go to their website, see what they sell, support the companies that support the content that you watch. Thank you so much. So how do you like the car? Do you get to drive it a lot? Does it drive like a Formula D car, or is it, like way dumbed down to drive in Pro-Am all the time? Like, what's the car like?
The car, like when we got it, it was, I don't know, it had been bashed on in China for a while, and so we had to fix everything. Once we fixed everything, it's been getting better. We had to redo pretty much all the angle kit and stuff after it got crashed. Before it had stock spindles and stock control arms, and so we got a new Scotty D angle kit on it, and I don't know, it's kind of dumbed down for Pro-Am, but it's getting better. The car is just, I don't know, it's just a work in progress. We had to fix literally everything on it.
Do you have any type of like emotional connection with it being a championship winning car, or is it just like your beater?
No, I've wrecked it once, and that was like one of the hardest days of my life, probably.
Did you cry? Not like, you know, as a man,
maybe a little bit, maybe.
Did you cry inside?
Yeah, I wrecked it off the backstretch on the 3/8, and granted, I did have my girlfriend with me, and so it was, I don't know, but it's just that the car has gone through FD, and it's a championship car, and Vaughn's owned it. It's just, I don't know, it's just hard, I guess.
Yeah.
Like,
it's probably a tank, though. It takes a lot to kill these things.
yeah, it's, the only thing I've done to it was I bent the headlight bucket out of it, and so I built this tubular core support for it, but it's, I don't know, I've been beating on it. The last Pro-Am round on Saturday, I got into the wall and I straightened it out, and it's a kind of a beater, but I still have an emotional attachment to it. So,
do you want to show us around some of the car and tell us what it was like when it was in Formula D trim? Like, was it actually metal fenders like this?
Yeah.
Was it metal doors? Was it stock mirrors? Was it stock headlights? Was it stock like front clip thing?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me. Tell this.
So when we got the car, it had stock fenders on it. It was smashed right here. It had a stock core support actually, and the core support was smashed in on it, and the strut tower was bent. And so when we got it, we had to replace all of that, and then I crashed it and we had to rebuild it all. But it had stock fenders, stock doors on it. It's got fiberglass quarter panels, and it's got pretty much stock rear bumper, but it's like the whole trunk taillight buckets are all stock. But other than that, yeah, it's got like, everything's pretty much stock on the outside. But we rebuilt like some of the interior stuff, bring it up to date. So.
Do you have any idea what the deal was with Ken Gucci originally driving it and then it going to Von Gen? Was like the car pulled from Gucci for some reason and given to another program, or was it like happily done? Do you know any of like the cool?
No, he didn't really tell
drama?
us much about that. So Ford built the car for Ken, and he drove it for a while, and then they built his new car, which he wrecked at Irwindale. Or was it? No, it was before Irwindale. So they ran this car at Irwindale, and I think after that they just went to a different chassis. I think that was when he had his 240, and so they built that car, and then they just went, I think Vaughn bought it from him or something, and so after that it went to Vaughn. He drove it and got the 2010 championship, and then took it to China and beat on it there, and then left it in China, and a bunch of drivers drove it there and crashed it and stuff. And then it's actually a funny story how we got it. It went to Kyle Mohan's shop and sat there for 5 years out in California heat, and so then we were crewing for Farouk, and he left his laptop on their pit table, so we had to go there and get his laptop back, and I asked Kyle about it, and he's like, oh, it's nothing like to worry about, it's just the Mustang. And so after we talked to him for a little bit, we got it and rebuilt pretty much everything except for the motor and trans, and freshened it up.
Yeah.
So, but, oh yeah, he might have some pictures.
So I have an odd story. I'm pretty sure, did you go to Import Reactor, Sai?
I didn't make it on that one.
You did not? I might have driven this car back in the day in like 2000. Did Vaughn have it in 2009 or 2009 Import Reactor was? Yeah, I think I drove this car on and off the trailer when Vaughn's dad drove the 18-wheeler down. And they needed the cars unloaded and stuff because Vaughn drove his Formula D car, and it has a 2007 sticker and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's got 2007
a
sticker and 2008.
So I think I actually drove this car around the parking lot in Texas in 2008 or 9 or something like that. So that's going way back. That's kind of interesting. And I was so excited to be inside the car. And then this car at a Texas event, we paid Vaughn's fee to come down and be a part of an event and everything. And he brought out the Formula D car. He brought out his 18-wheeler and everything, and they came and drifted with us at Gulf Greyhound Park, which we just retired. I just spit on the ground. And that we just retired, and he tandemed with all of our guys in this car. So in Texas, we've actually tandem with this car, and I sat in it and drove it around the parking lot a little bit.
Oh, dang.
Just kind of cool.
Yeah.
Weird. It's weird that like stuff comes back and I think about that and you're like, wow, so much history.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're keeping it alive and everything. It's nice that it didn't just get left in China, because I've heard a bunch of stuff gets left in China.
Yeah, he left
like
it in China, and then it went to Kyle Mohan's, and I guess we're rebuilding it, and it's gonna be a Pro-Am car for this season, and then probably just we're gonna clean it up and make it like a show car, I guess, but still a beater, I guess.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Show car and still beater are not the same thing.
Well, I don't know. Like, we'll still bring it out to like drift events and stuff, but I just don't want to take like a big hit on the 5.8s and Pro-Am or something and total the car. So I'm gonna build a new car instead. So.
Okay. Well, very cool. Thank you very much for sharing it. You mind if
problem.
I sit in it real quick?
Yeah.
I want to sit in it. I haven't sat in this thing in 13 years. Oh my God.
Yeah, with the new seat, it might be a little tight.
No, it fits. Ugh. Boop. Can we start it up?
Yeah, yeah.
How do we start it?
Let's see.
I'm gonna pretend to be Vaughn or Chelsea.
We got Chelsea.
All right, what do we do? Ignition, fuel?
Just the ignition and then the fuel, yep. Start.
Sounds mean. All right, I'm just acting like a little kid. Thank you very much.
Yep. You just hit the ignition and fuel off.
Boop. Very cool. I get excited about cars too, so thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
I don't know where to end this video. It's just neat to like, oh God, radios. Makes me feel old when I'm telling people I was like in this car 13 years ago. How old were you when 13 years ago?
Let's see, I'm 18.
You're like 5?
Yeah.
Oh God, exactly 5. He was 5 last time I drove that car around and started it. And I actually got to pull this out of the stacker rig because his dad was like kind of old to get in and out of the stacker rig, and that's why I was in there. So I got to take it out on like the lift or whatever, bring it down, back it up, and drive it around the lot a bit, and like do a little bit of maybe a burnout.
Yeah.
Don't tell Vaughn that. He probably doesn't care.
Yeah, probably.
I think he got paid a lot to be there.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so very much. This is a very interesting story and a cool car, and I'm glad you're keeping it alive, and I'm glad you're driving it.
Yep.
All right, high five.